Hi guys, I keep saying kryptonite to charlatans and dishonest politicians is a robust media, calling them out and holding their feet to the fire. The only problem with such journalists is that they're in short supply. Now, one of the policies Reform UK wants to get rid of is of course net zero, which would not only create well-paying jobs in a future energy sector, but would also bring down energy prices by insulating people's homes, a benefit you would see immediately. It seems Reform UK's connections to the fossil fuel industry is behind their drive to end net zero support, not just in politics, but also in the minds of the public. Here, top quality journalist Matthew Wright grilled and frankly embarrassed Reform UK's Alex Wilson, not just on net zero, but on Brexit. Wonderful stuff, have a listen.
How does blocking attempts to make homes more energy efficient, say, which would be a greener home, how does blocking that help anyone? That's just gesture politics.
No, we're not. If people want to, have their own, solar panels and things on industrial buildings and on homes, that's absolutely
No. This is about support for people. See, to insulate a home is extremely expensive. That's why it's important for the state or the council to help people out. What Reform UK are doing is we want to stop that support. See. I really wish there was more focus on this because it's extremely important and it has a real impact on people's lives, an immediate impact. Insulating people's homes would see their energy bills drop dramatically immediately because an insulated home from one day to the next is going to be completely different. I really wish there was more focus on this because it's extremely important and it has a real impact. Reform UK want to get rid of that. They want to stop people from accessing funds to help insulate their homes. They're not on the side of working people. They've never been on the side of working people.
absolutely fine. What we are against is giving up vast swathes of prime agricultural land for these huge solar farms. We want to make better use of our own natural resources to continue to provide the cheap and reliable and secure.
So fossil fuels.
Going forwards.
Fossil fuels. The things
So
that
oil, gas, using those.
the things that 99.9% of scientists say are overheating the planet. We carry on that route. That's responsible politics, is it?
If we were to stop producing any carbon emissions tomorrow, what impact would it have on global temperatures? None whatsoever. While India and China are continuing to exploit carbon.
Okay, look, India and China are still using coal, yes, that's a problem, but they're moving towards renewables as well. China in particular is leading when it comes to renewable energy. A lot of the carbon emissions in China are because of manufacturing stuff that we in the West buy. So that's part of the problem. A lot of the carbon emissions are being offloaded onto China because China is producing the stuff that we're buying. If we produced it in our own countries, our emissions will be much higher. But China is investing in renewables, it's investing in electric vehicles, investing massively in infrastructure like railways, which is of course more environmentally friendly. What does Reform UK want to do? It wants to go back to the 19th century. It wants to go back to a time where people, ended up with coal black lung because children were working in mines and stuff like this. This is the future or the past that Reform UK want to go down. They want to do nothing on renewables. Now, it's probably because of their connections to the fossil fuel industry.
In unfathomable
For sure.
quantities. What we do on net zero, it makes no difference whatsoever. The only difference it makes is in people's pockets, making it.
Like we have no impact. We need to take a step back. These are the same people who convinced people back in 2016 we need to leave the European Union to be a world leader. Remember Boris Johnson? Of course, he's not from Reform. Boris Johnson was talking about world beating. The Conservatives, world beating. We need to leave the European Union in order to lead. And now what's the Reform saying? Well, no, we need to go backwards.
Everyone poorer, colder,
on that
and
very
less
issue.
resilient.
On that very issue. So you know what the levy on the gas bill is, on a typical gas bill, do you? The green levy, what it actually costs per year? £50 a year.
I really wish, this is my only criticism of Matthew Wright here, I really wish he had let Alex answer because he doesn't know the answer. Obviously he doesn't know the answer because Alex is not somebody who's informed about these things. He receives his talking points from Nigel Farage HQ. This is what you're supposed to argue against. Net zero is bad. That's it. Now, he doesn't understand the green levy. frankly, he doesn't care, because it's not something that he has to argue. Well, he generally has to argue against.
Hang on, just hear us out. It's £50 a year on the average bill, £1 a week. Do you know what the average household has lost as a result of Brexit? £2,000 a year.
Once again, I really wish I'd let him answer to embarrass him.
Yeah. So how can you tell me, how can you sit here and tell me that a levy of £50 a year is more damaging to the UK economy than the very thing that you and your colleagues in Reform have championed, which is Brexit, which costs us loads more, and far more injurious to the economy?
It's not just about a single line on a single bill. It's about the overall impact on energy prices. We have 4 times the electricity prices in the UK as they do in America. And a big contribution to that is because we're relying, ever-growing reliance on renewables, which are unreliable and unaffordable.
No mention of Brexit. You notice that? It wouldn't say it's actually okay that we're paying £2,000 more because of Brexit, as opposed to £50 for a green levy. Look, when it comes to what he was saying about energy prices, why are energy prices much higher in the UK? Because the UK has linked itself to gas prices. So even if you increase production of renewables, if you're still pegged to the price of gas, then people are going to pay more. That's a problem. Is Reform UK talking about decoupling from gas? No. Because, well, their friends in the fossil fuel industry wouldn't want that. There's also the problem of infrastructure. The infrastructure has not been upgraded over the last number of decades. Is Reform UK talking about upgrading the infrastructure? Of course not. They're talking about going backwards. We need to reopen coal mines. We need to start burning fossil fuels like coal in power stations once again. They're the party of the past. And they're not just cosplaying of the past. They actually want to go backwards. You know, they criticize China, but China is moving forward. It's investing more in AI. It's investing more in renewables. It's investing more in electric vehicles. Reform UK want to go back to a time where you send children up chimneys, send people into coal mines to get black lung. Because they will be okay. Nigel Farage will not be suffering the consequences. The people around Nigel Farage will not be suffering the consequences. They want to roll back protections for the environment, protections for workers. And at the very beginning of this clip, it was very, very clear to see. They want to take away funding that would actually improve people's lives. Insulating old homes would save people on their energy bills. Reform UK want to take that away. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.